Welcome to Top 30. I'm Kristen Smith.
And I'm Richard Bacon, and here are your top 30 stories in 30 minutes. A new study suggests that many Americans spend more on fitness than on college tuition. The fitness site, MyProtein, surveyed gym goers and found the average adult spends $155 a month on health and fitness, including membership fees, clothing, and trainers. That amounts to about $112,000 over their lifetime, more than the average public four-year education, which is just over 98 grand. But one demographic spends even more. A report from an industry trade group found that millennials are changing the fitness industry because they prefer specialized classes like CrossFit, Pilates, and yoga. Hour-long classes in a large city can run between $20 and $40. Personal training can cost between $50 and $100 for just one session. Fitness experts say young customers pay more for boutique studios because they're more social than traditional gyms. They will also pay for flexibility, like with Class Pass, which offers discounted rates on multiple studios. One expert told the LA Times, millennials want to be able to make fitness choices on demand, and they're willing to pay for it.
Last week, an American plane flew a different kind of rescue mission to Puerto Rico. A Southwest jet carried 14,000 pounds of cleaning products, diapers, and other supplies to the island still recovering from Hurricane Maria. On the way back to the U.S., the plane carried 62 dogs and cats. It was a relief effort that took hundreds of volunteer hours and thousands of dollars in donations. The trip was organized by Lucky Dog Animal Rescue. Southwest donated the entire round-trip flight. The pilot and flight crew agreed to work without pay. 4 months after Hurricane Maria, almost half the island has no power. Many are suffering and struggle to take care of themselves, let alone a pet. The director of PR Animals helped the mission from Puerto Rico. She said recovery is a long way off.
Right now, most of our rescuers that are here today are still without electricity. Some of them are without water. PR Animals in our facilities, we still don't have running water or electricity, so it's very hard to deal.
Some of the animals were surrenders. One owner said giving up a pet is like giving up hope that your life is going to be normal again. All of the animals arrived safely in Baltimore. You can see who's still available to adopt on the Lucky Dog Rescue site.
A new algorithm named the Wave Clinical Platform, which observes vitals in order to predict when sudden death may occur, has been approved by the U.S. Food Drug Administration. The Wave Clinical Platform, which was developed by the medical tech firm Excel Medical, predicts a variety of sudden deaths, from heart attacks to respiratory failure. It works by constantly reviewing vitals to sense subtle shifts that may indicate when a potential fatality may occur for up to 6 hours before it does. Excel Medical's Chief Strategy Officer, Mary Baum, said, "We do not have enough physicians or nurses, and we have an aging population who are sicker and who need more resources and services." Using artificial intelligence to scan and analyze medical information in real time may improve the effectiveness of preventive care, potentially making it the advantage the medical system has been looking for.
Raw sprouts served at the sandwich chain Jimmy John's have been linked to a salmonella outbreak. The CDC and FDA report at least 8 cases of illness in Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Sprouts were immediately taken off the menu at all of its more than 2,600 stores nationwide. This is at least the 7th time since 2008 that sprouts at Jimmy John's have caused an outbreak. And LeBron James has become the youngest player ever to join the 30,000-point club.
Wow, incredible moment. That is.
At 33 years and 24 days old, LeBron bested the record previously held by Kobe Bryant, who was 34 years and 104 days old when he reached it. And finally, look at this. Bruno, the American Mastiff, and this cute chimp named Limbani have quickly become best friends, and it's the best thing ever. Thanks to the Zoological Wildlife Foundation for that cuteness.
Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend and mine, Nicole Pedlides. Nicole, I am hearing big things about Snapchat.
That's right, Richard. Snapchat stories will soon be available outside of the app. Stories will still only be available off the platform for a limited amount of time. The company says that this feature will be particularly helpful in bringing people together during breaking news situations. Procter & Gamble says it's working to stop the Tide Pod Challenge by working with social media companies to remove videos of people biting into the detergent. The social media craze has become a real problem. Poison control centers say they have handled 39 cases of intentional misuse among teenagers in the first 15 days of 2018. JP Morgan already serves about 61 million U.S. households, one of every 2 families. And it's about to get even bigger. The company plans to invest $20 billion in the U.S. over the next 5 years.
And Nicole, what exactly is it they plan on doing?
More raises and more jobs. 22,000 lower-level workers will see a wage boost. JP Morgan also plans to add as many as 400 new branches across the U.S., which will employ about 3,000 people.
That's good stuff. Nicole, thank you. Kristen, you have an announcement from the Patriots.
Yeah, Richard, as you know, athletes are notoriously superstitious, and the New England Patriots aren't challenging the forces of the universe. The team announced they'll be wearing their white uniforms for Super Bowl 52. So why does this even matter? The Patriots are 3-0 in their white uniforms with Tom Brady at quarterback. Undefeated. They're just 2-2 when they wear blue jerseys in the big game. But that's not all. It goes much deeper. 12 of the last 13 Super Bowl winners have worn white uniforms. Unbelievable, right? The Eagles tweeted and said they'll be wearing their midnight green unis. The only team in the past 13 years to win wearing a colored uniform, the Green Bay Packers in 2011. And they were naturally wearing green.
A mysterious letter that just became public indicates the 3 escapees from Alcatraz survived the infamous escape. About 65 years ago, Alcatraz held the most hardened criminals and was thought to be inescapable because it was on an island off the coast of San Francisco surrounded by icy water. But in 1962, 3 men used sharpened spoons to cut a hole in the wall during a daring escape and have never been seen again. KPIX, a local station in San Francisco, just obtained a letter reportedly sent to the San Francisco Police Department in 2013 saying, "My name is John Anglin. I escaped from Alcatraz in June 1962 with my brother Clarence and Frank Morris. I'm 83 years old and in bad shape. I have cancer. Yes, we all made it that night, but barely. If you announce on TV that I will be promised to first go to jail for no more than a year and get medical attention, I will write back to let you know exactly where I am." This is no joke. An FBI lab tested the letter for fingerprints and DNA. The results were inconclusive. The US Marshals told KPIX they considered this lead closed with no merit.
An unexpected person might be under consideration for one of the most famous movie roles of all time. Jason Matheson, host of The Jason Show on Fox 9 in Minneapolis, tells us more. Jason?
Thanks, Kristen. Well, former One Directioner Harry Styles is receiving a lot of praise for his acting in Dunkirk. I loved it. I thought he did a really good job. Well, all that praise is churning some rumors, or I should say talk, that Harry could be taking over one of the most iconic roles in movie history, 007. That's right. People are actually talking about Harry Styles playing a younger version of James Bond, kind of like maybe in a prequel trilogy. And it makes sense. Daniel Craig's still going to play Bond for one more movie. And by the time that Harry gets a hold of the role, he'll be 28. And that is a perfect age for a young James Bond. I personally think this is the best idea ever. Kristen?
Yeah, I do too. And I think James Bond would definitely be a good challenge for him. Thanks, Jason. A single dad's plea for a kidney went viral, and not only did he find a match, he also gained a new friend. Robert Leibowitz suffers from chronic kidney disease, and he's needed a kidney for more than 3 years. Desperate to find a match, he tried something unusual. While visiting Disney's Magic Kingdom in August, he wore a t-shirt that said, "In need of kidney." A picture of the shirt was posted on Facebook, and it was shared over 90,000 times in just 1 week. Eventually, a man named Richie Sully answered the call, and he was a perfect match. Last week, they successfully underwent kidney transplant surgery in New York City. Leibowitz told People magazine, "It's impossible to not feel like brothers. He's obviously an amazing human being to reach out to a stranger." Leibowitz says they're planning a big reunion with both of their families at Disney World, where all the magic started.
Several key figures in Washington have been questioned by lawyers, and the president could be next. American intelligence agencies, including the CIA, believe that Russia attempted to tilt the presidential race in Donald Trump's favor. Special counsel Robert Mueller is investigating whether those Russians had help from the Trump campaign. Both Russia and Trump himself have denied the allegations. Mueller's office has now requested an interview with the president. The Justice Department confirmed this week that Attorney General Jeff Sessions was recently interviewed by Mueller's team. Sessions stepped away from the Russia investigation after it was revealed he lied to Congress about talks with Russia's ambassador to the US. The special counsel also interviewed former FBI Director James Comey. Comey ran the investigation into Russian meddling until he was fired by the president last year. Lawyers in Mueller's office have reportedly told the president's attorneys they will ask questions about why Comey was fired. The White House has said they are cooperating with the investigation.
In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 29 Philadelphia, a stigma is attached to pit bulls as an aggressive breed, which is why animal shelters seem to have their fill of the dog. But one organization sees the breed's potential for greatness. The Throwaway Dogs Project began training pit bulls to serve as police canines after discovering they had many of the skills necessary for narcotics detection. Now, instead of filling shelters, they can serve and protect. Our next story from Fox 13 Tampa Bay. 18-year-old Kayla Tedder isn't just talking about changes she'd like to see at her school, she's doing something about it. The high school senior is running for a seat on the Polk County School Board. Her opponent is Sarah Fortney, a local science teacher. But while Kayla may be young, she just might be the perfect person for the job.
I think my age is one of my biggest assets in this race because I have experienced being a student recently.
The election is in August. Our final story from Fox 2 Detroit. Julian Terrence was living on the streets when he befriended Max the dog. Having suffered through the death of his son, Julian wasn't about to abandon Max, then just a puppy. It was difficult to find shelter that would accept both of them until Julian's chance meeting with 313 Canine and Kitty Rescue. Not only did they foster Max while Julian searched for work, but they raised enough money for 2 months' rent. Even better, Julian found a job. Finally, the two have a place to call home.
This week, the Oscar nominations were announced, and so was an Oscars protest. The National Hispanic Media Coalition Action has announced it will be demonstrating later this month to raise awareness of Hollywood's underrepresentation of the Latino community. Alex Nogales, the group's president, told the New York Times, "We've tried to push in less hostile ways, but these studios don't seem to understand anything else. Latinos make up 18% of the US population. They're also 23% of frequent moviegoers who attend theaters at least once a month. But a USC study found that only about 3% of speaking characters in movies released over the last decade were Latino. No Hispanic actor has won an Oscar since Penelope Cruz in 2009 for Vicky Cristina Barcelona." When Oscar nominations were announced this week, there were no Latino nominees in any of the acting categories.
You can imagine how cold it's going to be at the Olympic opening ceremonies in South Korea. But don't worry, the U.S. Olympic team's uniform is a wearable heater. The red, white, and blue parkas have a button on the inside that triggers a state-of-the-art heating system built into the coat. The jackets have carbon and silver ink printed on the inside in the shape of an American flag. The ink conducts heat and it starts working immediately when switched on. And just in case athletes don't have immediate access to the on-off button, they can control the temperature from their phone. The jackets were designed by Polo Ralph Lauren, and the company says they're the most technologically advanced jackets ever produced. Let's hope a little bit of warmth will translate into a lot of medals for the U.S. team.
Game of Thrones fans may want the series to continue forever, but one of the show's actors says it is time to end it.
They're starving, you fool! All because of a war you started!
You're talking to a king!
And now I've struck a king.
Peter Dinklage plays Tyrion Lannister in the show that set ratings records on HBO. Fans are waiting for the 8th and final season, which is scheduled to be released sometime next year. Dinklage spoke to Variety about the show's ending and said it's time, story-wise, not just for our lives. Sometimes shows stay on a little too long, the jumping the shark thing. He also updated fans on the filming schedule, saying they're about halfway done and are taking their time because it is the last season. The final season will have only 6 episodes, but each one is expected to be longer than normal.
Time now for this week's Page 6 Fix. Senior reporter Carlos Greer joins us with more. What's going on, Carlos?
Well, Kristen, we've got updates on the latest legal battles with your favorite stars. First up, it's more good news for Kim Kardashian. Along with a new baby, it seems she and Kris Jenner also defeated Blac Chyna in court, where Chyna alleged they were involved in the demise of her e-reality show, Rob and Chyna. However, Chyna's lawsuit against Rob still stands. But while the troubles for Kim appear to be over, they're just getting started for Mariah Carey. She's being sued for over $3 million for canceled concerts in South America. $2 million of that alone is from damages from a tweet Carey posted at the time of his cancellations. Another star facing the long arm of the law is Mike Sorrentino, a.k.a. The Situation. After pleading guilty to tax evasion, the judge granted the Jersey Shore star permission to film the MTV show's reunion in Miami before his sentencing on April 25th. And that's this week's Page 6 Fix. See you next time.
Thanks, Carlos. For more news and gossip, watch Page 6 TV weekdays. Check your local listings.
GM has opened a new Canadian technical centre just outside of Toronto, capable of handling 1,000 employees, including 700 dedicated engineers. The facility is meant to be a support for the carmaker's fully autonomous vehicle program, advanced driver assistant features, and infotainment center design and improvements. With several technical-focused facilities in Canada and the US, GM is looking to position itself as a world leader in technology. In addition to the new facility, GM announced a $1.8 million Canadian scholarship fund to support STEM education, that is, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Apple CEO Tim Cook and Malala Yousafzai, the youngest person to win the Nobel Peace Prize, were on hand in Beirut, Lebanon, to announce a partnership that will fund the education of over 100,000 girls. The famous women's rights campaigner had been working on the Malala Fund, a project to educate girls in places like Afghanistan, Pakistan, Lebanon, Turkey, and Nigeria, when she met Cook. The Independent reported Cook reached out to Malala last year while she was studying at Oxford University to talk about the project. Cook says it really lined up with the boldness of Apple, and at the core of it is an overriding belief in equality and that education is the great equalizer. The partnership of the human rights icon and the tech titan can hopefully expand the vision beyond the first 100,000 girls so that someday women everywhere can freely be educated.
Ending a night out in an uncomfortable outfit may soon be a thing of the past, thanks to the athleisure trend. Designers like Louis Vuitton, Miu Miu, and Valentino are applying principles commonly found in workout clothes to their couture runway collections. And with the 2018 Winter Olympics right around the corner, there's an overlap that allows designers the flexibility to implement athletic designs in their sleekest dresses. Details like racing stripes, contrast piping, and materials that look like silk but feel like yoga pants are just some of the features that are wowing consumers. But this doesn't mean you should blow your budget on these high-end items. The whole idea behind athleisure is ease, so take your time and choose pieces that reflect the comfort you want to project.
Airline economics, including lower fuel prices, are prompting airlines to bring back routes they once dropped from mid-sized US cities. Many small and mid-sized cities were cut out from routes in 2011 when jet fuel prices skyrocketed above $140 a barrel. Now sitting at around $83 a barrel, it's more affordable for the airlines to add flights back to smaller destinations. So while things are looking up for the mid-sized cities, small cities are still struggling. At least 20 smaller airports have lost network carrier service over the last 4 years, while 91 other small airports have seen their departure flights cut by at least half, with California, Montana, Washington, and Wyoming taking the biggest hits.
Kristen and Michael have a peculiar love story. You see, they met as children while playing Neopets, a primitive form of social media that allowed people to role play as a virtual pet. Well, Kristen was 12 and Michael was 10, and thanks to the game, they started as rivals, but soon became friends. Things progressed slowly, but by high school, they evolved from only engaging in Neopet-related activities to sharing pictures and sneaking phone calls. By the time Michael graduated high school, he confessed his feelings to Kristen and applied to schools in Little Rock, Arkansas, where Kristen lived, so they could finally meet, and sparks flew. In 2014, Michael proposed to Kristen, and they got married soon thereafter. True love comes in all forms, even virtual ones. Hey, Richard, what's coming up on our next show?
Kristen, we're talking about phones affecting your health. New research suggests smartphones affect teenagers in surprising ways, plus how athletes are using virtual reality to prepare for the Olympics, and the story of one 11-year-old who was inspired to help the homeless. It is all coming up on the next Top 30.